Hello everyone, Mackie here, and welcome back to this channel. Before I'm gonna dive to all of the stuff that is controversial about the whole legends, fame, those kind of stuff, I want to make an announcement, ladies and gentlemen. I am now officially a 29-year-old man. Yeah. Yes, this is my very first video as a 29-year-old. I my birthday was yesterday, of course. My god brother's birthday was, of course, yet today. So I wish him a happy birthday, of course. And I also I want to thank some of the people, that um my family members, my friends, wishing me a happy birthday, of course. And yeah, just because I'm a year older does not mean the whole thing isn't changing. Although you can say that there's going to be a lot of changes coming in for me and for this channel. So yeah, I think you can say that there's a lot of stuff going on that's gonna be happening for the next couple of days. So just so you know that I am now officially 29 years old, and I'm blessed, and I'm happy, and I think it is time for me to light a fire in my butt and talk about this whole Hall of Legends versus Hall of Fame kind of stuff. So, in case many people are under the rock or live under the rock, by the way, the newest inductee into the Hall of Legends has been announced, and it is Caps. It is Caps from G2, and I've already did a video talking about Caps' impact about League of Legends and the LEC as a whole. Well, I was 28, of course. I already did that. I already did my video. So if you want, please go watch my video talking about Caps and its impact and all kind of stuff. Great. Now you're thinking to yourself, that is probably the be and all, end all the kind of stuff. That's pretty much it. Like, Caps deserve to be in this thing, no problem, and all kind of stuff. However, that is not the reason why many people have an uproar. The reason why many people have an uproar is that the language of which it is said about Hall of Legends is pretty much skewed. What I mean is that this is Hall of Legends and not the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is pretty much different than the Hall of Legends by two distinctive parts. One, obviously, you have to be retired, which, by the way, when Uzi 2025 is pretty much is right now. And by the way, 2027 is going to be a little bit different. But two, it is supposed to be how do I say this? It is supposed to be celebrated across all areas. Like in the Hall of Fame, there is like coaches and players from different teams and different staffs and all kinds of stuff and their contributions, of course. This is basically like, okay, we're gonna pick Korean for the first time, and then we pick China, and then we pick Europe, and of course next year they might gonna pick a North American player because that is the pattern they're gonna go through. And listen, I'm gonna say the quiet part out loud. I think this is a money grab by them. I think this is a gigantic money grab by them. I know there'll be many people like the people who voted for this and saying, "Oh, we're not doing this by money." Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You see, look at the Faker skins. Look at the amount of money you have on the RE Faker skin. Like, come on, you gotta tell me that it feels like, oh, money does not is not the reason why this thing. Come on, people. I have seen your BS, Riot. I've seen your BS. This is just it's not. This is all about money at the end of the day. And they're trying to help your LOL esports ecosystem to trying to flourish. Which, by the way, it is now being like feel like the downfall of a TI prize pool. It's like it used to be like $1 million. Now it's like pennies on the dollar, I guess. So you're trying to do everything you can to make sure that you'll be propped up, fed up, and then pay all the players and all that stuff. So do not tell me that this whole Hall of Legends thing is like not a money grab. It is by the skins, by the revenue, everything. But I believe that this is pretty much. I can understand why there is a lot of anger and frustration, and I can totally understand that. First of all, I think many people said it this, including Mr. Shinak, who did his short and with his G2 shirt, by the way. This does not diminish Caps is it's this whole thing does not mean that Caps does not deserve to be a Hall of Legends. Okay, he earned it, he deserve it, he is 100% worthy of that right in any which way or form. What he has done to the LEC, to European League of Legends, to everything, he earned that. However, however, I think he would have been in if he would have, not play currently. And oh, by the way, it's funny enough that Caps get inducted into the Hall of Legends and then got cleaned by his former team in Fnatic. You just cannot make this up. He gets to the Hall of Legends and then got cleaned up by Fnatic of all teams. Like, it's not even a good Fnatic, by the way. This is a bad Fnatic team. Oh man, it's just G2 and Timing are just not in a great situation. They're not the best of friends, of course, when it comes to G2 and Timing. But the point is that, listen, the Hall of Legends thing is a really, really controversial thing. And the reason why I put the 2027 in most likely double lift is because one is a North American player, two, because of the skin sales, and oh, by the way, the skin sales, and of course, the lots of money they're being produced. Yeah, if you put in Lucian or anything like that, those skins will sell a fortune. Especially, he's popular in China, he's popular in Korea, so that pretty much makes sense. But I believe also three, this is going to be the one that really angers a lot of people. If you think Caps will be the most thing that will anger a lot of people, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Wait till we see double lift. Wait till we see double lift's induction. Or maybe Bjergsen, of course. I would probably going to write that down. But I prefer double lift. Yeah, I prefer double lift as the obvious. And if that happens, then I think the Hall of Legends thing should be questioned beyond belief. Because I think David Shinedock also said it best in his short, of course. And I think that's my sporting brain that's telling you that Hall of Fame should be a thing to celebrate your achievements, your accolades, your success within a long time. And I think there's an example. I think there's no better example of all of this than this current iteration of the Hall of Fame class. Now, in case many people do not know, the Hall of Fame class for this year is pretty much, controversial because a certain somebody from another team should not get in, but it is what it is. Look at these names: Drew Brees, Roger Craig, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, and Vinatieri. That's a solid class. That, my friends, is a really solid class. I watch all of them. I admire all of them. We know how great Drew Brees is, for what he has done to the New Orleans Saints, his impact, of course, winning the Super Bowl years after Hurricane Katrina and all that stuff. Roger Craig, I heard that Roger Craig having kind of dementia, of course, and we pray for him, and hopefully he'll be okay, but, dementia is no joke. And he was impactful for that incredible 49ers dynasty team from like the 80s, from like the 80s and 90s, of course. He was so influential. Larry Fitzgerald, the cornerstone of the Arizona Cardinals, of course, for so many years. Been to a Super Bowl, most dominant receiver at the time. He was incredible. Adam Vinatieri, one of the most clutch kickers in not only the New England Patriots historical franchise, of course. If it wasn't for his kick in the snow against the Raiders back in the Tuck Rule game, the Patriots dynasty would never exist. Also, of course, that Super Bowl against the Rams, and then, of course, that Super Bowl against the Panthers, by the way. He was influential. And, of course, he was influential for the Indianapolis Colts way back when. Luke Kuechly, of course, the cornerstone of the Panthers defensive back. He was incredible, of course, way back when. He was like a major reason. I think he was in the Super Bowl team, of course, back in Super Bowl 50 when it lost to the Broncos. He was. So I think you can look at this and say that is what a Hall of Fame should look like. It's a celebration of your accomplishments over the couple of years in different areas. Like, look at this. You got a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a defensive player, and a kicker. A kicker made a Hall of Fame. That is amazing. See, and I think that is supposed to be what this is all about. Retired players who have accolades beyond the trophies they've won or the numbers, and just a celebration of this. And by the way, Larry Fitzgerald and Luke Kuechly did not even win Super Bowls and they get in. Like Larry Fitzgerald and Luke Kuechly didn't get to win a Super Bowl and then yet they're still in. And there are like hundreds and hundreds of League of Legends players that did not even get a League of Legends trophy, a World's trophy, and still I will put them in the Hall of Fame. Like, let me just do something there. If I were to make a Hall of Fame class of 2026, let me just do 2026. I would easily put Khan as my first one from Korea. If I were to do by based on region, which by the way Riot is going to do right now, so two can play that game, Riot. I would put Khan as in there. Yes, did Khan did not win a trophy? Yes, he did not. But his impact, his influence around all the other teams, what he has done for Longzhu Gaming, of course, way back in 2017. What he has done to the top laners of LCK. Back when Korea were like, how do I say this? A passive aggressive kind of thing. It's like minimum aggression and minimum kind of stuff, like not as kill friendly. Khan is like the exception to the rule. Like Khan is like the perfect player of like he's aggressive, he's in your face, he's dominant. He is the reason why there are many hyper aggressive top laners in the LCK even today. And by the way, hyper aggressive top laners in the LCK in like all the regions. LPL have that. Probably LCS have that, of course. So Khan is kind of like the influential person. And I get he doesn't win any lot of international tournaments, but at least you can say that his impact, his presence is the reason why top laners are so much different even today. And I think that's something to be done. Okay, let me just do China. I think I will keep the Uzi one. I will keep the Uzi one because he's retired. He is the perfect encapsulation about how ADCs are. It's that give me the ball, dominate, of course. Let me score. I will dominate the game and I will carry you to victory. So I'll keep Uzi on that one. I think the Uzi one is fine. For Europe, I am not. By the way, EMEA. For EMEA, I am not going to put Caps in there. I am sorry. I can understand why you wanted to put Caps in there. I can only understand. But for my Hall of Fame class of 2026, I will not put Caps in there. I will not even put Caps in there. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a G2 player in there. And decided to put his coach in there. That's why I am going to make a controversial decision and put Perks as the EMEA representative for the Hall of Fame class of 2026. And here's why. He has been G2 stalwart every single year until 2021. He has been influential to G2's good days, bad days. He was in with the vacation days. He was there when G2 redeemed themselves, of course, the following year. He was there when G2 beat RNG when they were on the Golden Road. He was the reason why G2 won MSI 2019. He was the cornerstone, of course, for that, 2019 Worlds run. He was good in 2020, of course, making the semifinals. And by the way, when he left for G2, G2 crumbled, of course, the following season. But he also was kind of influential for Cloud9 as well in that one time period. Although he was not great, fine, but his impact was huge. And yes, well, you can say that the latter stages, like post G2, were not great. I can say Vitality, of course, and all that kind of stuff. You cannot say that he was influential, of course. And also, here's a key part. He's retired and now coaching. But listen, he is probably the most influential mid laner in all of Europe. In all of Europe. Yes, you can say that Caps is influential and done well and okay, but Perks have been there longer. He is Mr. G2 in more ways than one. Yeah, Caps is G2 now, but Perks was the very first G2 member. When you think of G2 in the early years, you think of Perks. You think of Wanden, for God's sakes. In early days. And I don't think, and listen, you can put like Soaz in there, of course. You could also put Soaz in there, of course. Expeke would be one of them. There are the guys that deserve to be in there. That if the criteria would have been a little bit different from Riot's monetary and their views, I would just put all these guys in there, and I'll have no problem with that. And since North America is going to be in there next season, I decided to make something left field. Now, there's a lot of conversation saying Double Lift should be in there, Bergson should be in there, fine. And then Wild Turtle and all kind of stuff, cool. But here's the thing. Neither of these guys have any international experience, and sure, they have been good international. They have been decently internationally, but neither of them has ever held a candle to the player that I'm going to put in. So I decided to make my Hall of Fame inductee for North America in 2026, maybe in 2027, but I will have to go with Afromu. Now, there'll be a lot of people that's going to come at me in my comment section, and rightfully so. But I will. But here's the reason. See, supports, back then, supports in like North America and beyond are not as aggressive. He set the tone for what support play should be. His run for 2016 when CLG made the finals of MSI was huge. His Enchanter meta was probably the biggest thing to ever happen. Big back then with like engage metas, your Thresh and your Alice, your Thresh and all kind of stuff. And he just changes what it means to be a support here in North America. He changes the whole game. At the time of recording, he's like the top support player in top support in terms of assists in all of League of Legends history. I think Vulcan might get that record probably in the next couple of days or a couple of weeks, by the way. But you cannot say that Alphamu's impact was important. What he has done for CLG and also what he has done for like the first iteration of the 100 Thieves team. Yes, he was part of the 100 Thieves team that managed to make Worlds in their first year in existence. He was a stalwart in that team. And also, and most importantly, and for me, he's colored. How many League of Legends players would say that your impact to League of Legends and to League of Legends esports will be more influential in a support that never gives you love while being colored? That is hard to do in an esport that is so toxic, so chaotic. Your impact could be amazing. And I get it. He is not one of the most influential ones. But so does Tommy John. God rest his soul. Like like Tommy John, he was never the best player ever. But like Tommy John, his influential, of course, is huge. Without that 2016 run in CLG, and without the knowing of like Soraka supports and Enchanter supports, we will never see like all the great support players who not only can play engages, but also play some Enchanter supports. You're never gonna get like curious performances without a little bit of Afro moves some days. You're never gonna get that. And yes, this might be controversial, but I also wanted to put Wild Turtle in there. If people want to put Wild Turtle in there, fine. You want to put Wild Turtle in there. I would like to say maybe Power of Evil, PoE, maybe PoE, but that'll be a stretch, of course. So I'll just have to put Afromu and Wild Turtle. And that, my friends, is how a Hall of Fame class should be. That is what a Hall of Fame class should be. But the problem with this whole thing is that the Hall of Fame class or the Hall of Fame is different from the Hall of Legends. And I think the wording and the meaning of this is getting lost in the sauce. To the point of like, this is going to lose all meaning within a snap of fingers. The moment that Double Lift is going to get inducted in 2027, when that happens, it's going to be toxic city. Chernobyl-esque kind of thing in the comment section than Reddit. It will be Chernobyl in there. And I think the meaning of this is going to get lost in the sauce. Like, forget about the monetary issues. The fact the whole Hall of Legends thing will be absolutely being ridiculed to a T if this is happening. And I think Riot, the saddest part about it is that Riot is controlling mostly all the narratives without giving us I'm not saying the fans, but without giving us the fans the little bit of like, why you're putting that player in there over that retired player. You didn't have an influence. You just pick a player that might be influential to your sales, that might be influential to your brand and all kind of stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much the reason. And I think the good news is for Caps is that all that Hall of Legends money is going to save his father from retirement and all kind of stuff. So, oh my God, did I have to say that? Yeah, I had to say that. I got a little MJF kind of flaming on you guys. Just saying. It's just, I'm not pissed off at Caps being in there. I'm pissed off at the whole thing about Hall of Legends. Because this whole thing started off with Faker being in there. Like the moment Faker in there, you knew this is good. This is fishy as heck. You knew this whole thing was fishy as heck because listen, Faker was obvious, but the guy is still playing League of Legends for God's sakes. Why are you decided that Faker is an active player? It's still gonna play in League of Legends. Like, oh, because of money, because of money, because of the money, because of the whole influential, and because it's Faker, and because of the fact that esports, you're treating esports like it's a dying ember. When you realize that, guys, you have been around there for more than 10 freaking years. Okay? This is not the NFL. This is not the MLB. This is not like college basketball or WNBA, or God's sakes. You are a 12-year-old league of esports that is just getting their feet settled in. 20, 30, 40 years from now, when many people like myself, old and gray, and pretty much like this channel pretty much extinct and all kinds of stuff, and then my kids, of course, will talk about it and I'll explain to them. They'll probably understand. But for now, it's kind of like, this feels like a money grab to me. This feels like a gigantic money grab. And yeah, influence is good, and Caps' influence is great, and Uzi and Faker, and I have no problem with this, but this is going to be like a whole kick in the teeth. This is what a Hall of Fame should look like. This is what a Hall of Fame should look like. Retired players being celebrated for their accomplishments, for their achievements, and for all this kind of stuff. And that is supposed to be talked about. This is not. This is more of a money grab, cash scheme by Riot themselves in order for you to buy skins, to do all kinds of stuff. And I'm not doing this to disrespect these guys, but come on, people. Like, this is not how a Hall of Legends. Like come on, people. Come on, people. This is just not it, man. And listen, if I get ridiculed by the comment section and all that stuff, so be it. But I just feel like I have something to stand on. I'm now a year older. So you know what? I'm going to stand on my business and saying that I feel like next year at this time, around this time, that I feel like the Hall of Legends should be revitalized. And just saying, if you're a retired player, you should be in. And you should have a criteria. Like the same thing with the Hall of Fame thing with the NFL is like, you have to wait like 5 years to be there. 2 to 3 years, of course, for League of Legends will be a minimum. Okay? If you're going to be in the Hall of Fame, or Hall of Legends thing, you should be retired, you should have an impact in League of Legends, and you should have a 3-year period. That is it. Anything but, and I think we'll be have a problem. So anyways, that is my 2 cents about the whole Hall of Fame, whole Hall of Legends kind of fight. I think this is kind of like, it's a controversial take, and I can understand when maybe people is, but I feel like right now, I feel like this, you know what, let me just change this since people want it. There you go. There you go. I feel like this is how we supposed to do this. I think this is how we supposed to do this. And consider that you did it within your regions, I prefer like, this is probably my way to do it. This is probably, if I were in the shoes, I was like, these are the players that it's supposed to be. In fact, let me just say this. Let me just go in there. In fact, you could just put Khan in. You could put Khan in there. You could put Deft. You could put maybe Afro Move, as I said. You could put Perks. You could put Perks. You could put Wild Turtle. You could put maybe Ming. I think Ming is fine. I think Ming was good. You could put Score. Score was influential and probably the face of the KT roasters back in the days. You could put Score in there. And yeah, those are going to be my Hall of Legends class. Like, I know you're going to pick one of them, but this is a good class. All retired, all influential to League of Legends, all have success and accolades, even though some of them don't even win trophies. The world, of course. Like, this is probably how I do this class. This is how I do it. And by the way, with no money, of course, and no influentials. And by the way, if you want to do this monetary Riot, you can have skins based on that. You can celebrate Khan by getting the Graves Hall of Legends skin at a minimum price. If you're gonna do the monetary thing, use that for the retired players, so that the retired players will get the benefit, of course, so that they will get the money, so that they can feed their families and all kinds of stuff, and have like insurance, all kinds of stuff. You can just do that. You could just say that, hey, COD, you're retired. Let's put you in a Hall of Legends and have Graves, by the way, which is, by the way, his very first champion being played, as a skin bundle, of course. And they'll be selling for like X amount of money. And then that way you can not only benefit him, but also benefit, the League of Legends team. You do that with all the monetary stuff, and I'll be fine. But the fact that we're doing this with two players who are still in their league, by the way, angers me. Angers me to a fault. And I just don't know how we can ever do it. I just don't know how we can solve the problem. But listen, this is Riot crap. This is Riot thing. It's Riot's world, and we're all living in it. And it's their rules. It's their rules, their influence, their kind of crap. And you know what? If this thing number gets like 5 views, so be it, I guess. Anyways, that's my 2 cents, everybody. If you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe to this video. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of maybe this summer or maybe this year. Who knows? We're closer to that. And yeah, I will. There's a lot of things going on this week, of course. Something that is personally private, but I decided to leave it at there. So please, time is hot. Drink some water. Get your pets spayed and neuter. Love each other. Love your neighbors and all kind of stuff. And to quote my favorite wrestler, by the way, I will kiss you all a good night and a goodbye.